Syracuse, New York is known for a few things: snow, salt potatoes, and SU hoops. The Orange are gearing up for the 2018-19 season, fresh off a surprising bid to the NCAA tournament and a stunning run to the Sweet 16.
Unlike last year, when the regular season gets underway in just a few weeks, a deep tournament run is the expectation this year. Coming up on CitrusTV's 2018 basketball preview show, we'll take a look at SU's veteran lineup, dig into some key additions to this year's squad, and sit down with the head man himself. Stay right there. Basketball preview show starts right now.
What's up and welcome to the Mello Center on the campus of Syracuse University, the headquarters for Orange Hoops. I'm Drew Carter alongside Matt Liberman for our 2018-19 Citrus TV basketball preview show. Matt, it's felt like forever, but we are almost there.
Yeah, tip-off is just around the corner for SU Hoops this year, but before we can take a look at this year's squad, we got to take a look at last year's.
And it will certainly be an interesting season for the Orange.
With so many of the team's top players leaving, as well as an extremely young roster this year, it'll be interesting to see how Coach Jim Boeheim deals with this whole new roster.
They have to be ready to go right away. It's still a big game, you know, it is.
15 to shoot for Syracuse. Battle, right wing three. He got it again!
We have a problem.
The offense hasn't quite been there, and that led to a 4-game losing streak.
Got manhandled by Notre Dame and Florida State.
The Orange certainly needs a win for its NCAA tournament chances.
He's blocked from behind! Another huge swat!
Fifth ACC tournament, that first win has to feel good for Jim Boeheim and company.
I've never been any more proud of a team for what they've done.
Battle, drives left side, step back from 18 feet, good! Tyus Battle puts Syracuse up by 3!
These guys have, they've had an incredible end of the year. Tonight we're better offensively, just not quite good enough.
All right, Matt, so it was an electric ending to last season after a regular season where most people thought they wouldn't even make the tournament.
Yeah, but that was last year, and we're focused on this year. After a wild offseason following that Sweet 16 run, Syracuse lost a 5-star decommit, had a backup player transfer, and had an assistant coach leave. But they returned their entire core from a season ago.
And the headliner of that core is the alpha dog, Tyus Battle. He's where we start when we talk about the returners. It's just what you would expect. He's back for his junior season after he turned down the draft at the last minute. Some people said he might have even been a first-round pick. He led the ACC in minutes and shots last year and ranked third in scoring at more than 19 points per game.
And while Battle's decision to come back gives the team its go-to scorer, Frank Howard is the guy that makes this team go. Howard's 5.2 assists per game ranked 5th in the ACC last year, plus his length at the point guard position is crucial. Last season, Howard led the conference with 2 steals a game. But the biggest surprise for the Orange last year came on the wing in O'Shea Brissett. Brissett exploded last year, leading the team in double-doubles and finishing top 15 in the ACC in both rebounds and points. Plus, when the tourney came around, Brissett was money, leading the team in both points and rebounds. Only 4 players in all D1 averaged more minutes last year than the freshman.
He really blossomed in the tournament last year. So did this guy, Marek Dolezaj, the slender Slovakian. He started for the first time in late January, and he was in the lineup for every game after that. He averaged barely 4 points per game in the regular season and more than 11 points per game in the postseason. Dolezaj played some center last year, but for the most part, it was a two-headed monster down low. Syracuse brings back both those guys. The starter was Pascal Chukwu. He's 7'2" and ranks 2nd in the conference in block shots.
And his backup, Barama Sidibe, is somebody that struggled with knee issues the entire year last year, but when healthy, he can be an animal. At Pitt, he led Syracuse to a win with 18 points, 16 boards, and 3 block shots.
Sidibe played his high school basketball at St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey. He's not the only Syracuse player who played at prep school. In fact, our very own Tyler Rocky says it's becoming a trend.
Syracuse's roster comes from all different schools, states, and countries, but one common denominator for a number of Orange players is their prep school ties. Nearly half the SU roster attended prep schools that helped further their basketball careers, but the reasonings for going to these schools all differ.
I wasn't really playing too much my first couple years at Findlay Prep. I was behind a lot of great players, and my last year when I went back home to Toronto, that's when I felt like I needed a team to, myself, where I could, become a player, where I learned my game myself.
I did it just for personal growth, better competition out of Buffalo, and just personal development reasons. I went to Mount Vernon, Florida, and then went to the school in Canada, just personal development reasons. Wanted to work on my body, work on my game, and just be ready for the next level once I got there.
For others, they wouldn't be here without a stroke of luck. Walk-on Brendan Paul says his time at Brewster Academy, along with being roommates with Buddy Boeheim, is the reason he's wearing orange.
I had an open gym where Northeastern was there watching me, and then Syracuse was there, Coach Autry, and Buddy had said something to Coach Autry like before it started that, keep an eye on me, like we'd see if you like this kid or whatever. And I had like my best open gym that I'd had there at Brewster. And he came up to me after, he's like, we'd love to have you on the team, like I'm going to have Coach Boeheim call you tonight.
Without the help of these schools, this year's team could have looked a lot different. Tyler Rocky, Citrus TV Sports.
Coming up on the other side of the break, Drew sits down with SU head coach Jim Boeheim. We're doing some tourney talk as well as some father-son bonding. CitrusTV's basketball preview show. We'll be right back.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. We're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the cats go on vacation? New York.
Become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Welcome back to the 2018 Citrus TV Basketball Preview Show. Once again, he's Drew Carter. I'm Matt Liberman. Now, we already told you that SU returns its entire core from a season ago, but there are also some brand new, really sparkling faces to this team.
Coach Jim Boeheim's got a chance to go 9, maybe even 10 deep this year. Take that experience and add some new blood on top. First guy we're going to take a look at does have some experience, though. Elisha Hughes transferred to Syracuse after a year at East Carolina, and people are excited. Now, he only averaged a shade under 8 points per game at ECU, but he did score 15-plus in both conference tournament games. He's also a native of New York State from Beacon, New York, which is just south of Poughkeepsie.
And moving to the incoming freshman class, there's one name that sticks out above the rest. That's Jaylen Terry. Terry was the number 38 overall recruit in ESPN's Top 100 and will likely be a key playmaker off the bench, providing a 1-2 punch with Frank Howard.
And don't forget about the high flyer, Robert Braswell. This guy was a 2-time South Carolina state champion in the high jump. He cleared 6'10". Keep in mind, he is 6'9". Braswell also all-state in basketball. That makes sense. It spent part of his childhood in Germany because his mom was in the Navy.
One addition we haven't mentioned yet is Buddy Boeheim. Buddy comes into the season shouldering the load of being the son of maybe the biggest name in the history of Syracuse. And that's no easy task. Chris Venson has more on how Buddy and Jim are taking their relationship on the court.
This is an opportunity Buddy Boeheim's waited for his entire life. His first made basket as a member of the Syracuse Orange. Hundreds, if not thousands, of hoopers from around central New York dream of playing basketball for Syracuse. But the allure of the Carrier Dome is especially strong when Dad gets to cheer you on, not from the stands, but from the sidelines.
Something that I've worked for my whole life, so it definitely feels like a proud moment for me, and I know that I'm going to have a lot of great experiences and memories in this uniform.
This season, Buddy and Jim Boeheim become college basketball's latest father-son duo. Buddy dons the 35, Jim's jersey number from his playing days at SU in the early 60s. But just because Buddy's family name is etched into the hardwood doesn't mean he's guaranteed playing time. Jim's made it perfectly clear. His team might be a family, but as head coach, he doesn't play favorites.
He's being treated just like any of the players on the team.
So far, Jim's downplayed the whole situation, but his son understands why.
It's just kind of natural for me. I just look at him as another coach of mine and just really trying to enjoy that right now. And then off the court, you know, we'll be father and son again, but on the court, it's all business.
All business. But for Buddy Boeheim, college basketball is still a family business.
He's done telling me since 7th grade that I'm gonna be a really good player one day and possibly have a chance to play for him one day, and that's something that we've always looked forward to and hoped for because he knows how much the Syracuse basketball means to me. So I think it's definitely something cool and something that he's gonna look back on and be like, that was a great experience.
Chris Venzen, Citrus TV.
Well, there's a lot of idiots out there. I know that. Well, we need wins. We need wins. I've only taken one player in my career off tape, and he was before Marek. He's the worst player I've ever had. Some miracle occurred at Pittsburgh. I don't know whether he drank the holy water there. I don't know what happened. You know, he's one of the only European players that can't shoot. We just got lucky.
At the Mello Center, getting you set for the 2018-19 Syracuse basketball season. Now glad to be joined by the Hall of Famer, Head Coach Jim Boeheim. Coach, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So it's been a while since that run in March. What have you been up to over the offseason?
You know, you're always busy. You're recruiting, looking for players, and that goes on all year long. And then you're obviously doing a lot of local things, charitable things. And then in the summer now, we can work with our players. And, of course, the fall, you got another 3-4 weeks you're working with the players. So there's always something to do, and you're always trying to do something that'll help the program get stronger.
We know this year that fans and the media have pretty high expectations for the team, but what about your expectations?
I have the same expectations every year. Let's win as many games as we can, and what happens at the end of the year, that's what you can do.
With some of the new guys, whose progress has impressed you most over the offseason?
I've liked everything that I've seen from the freshmen and from Elisha Hughes, who sat out last year. I think they've made good progress. I think the returning players have made good progress. I think we're healthy for the most part. We hope to get Frank Howard back before we start the regular season, but everybody else has really shown really good progress.
Yeah, now a lot of players returning, but one guy in your staff is leaving, Eric Devendorf, going to Detroit Mercy. For someone who's kind of watched him grow throughout the basketball process, what was that like for you, seeing him make that call?
I was so happy for him to get a basketball. He was an assistant strength coach here, so he wasn't able to do much coaching. Now he's a full-time coach with a good coach, so this will be a great step for him.
Now, you're a coach who's had a lot of success in March. Do you feel like a run like last year could maybe carry some momentum into this season?
Well, I think it will. You know, we've got those guys back. If you lost those guys, it wouldn't be as important, but those guys are back, so it'll help them. And I think with the addition of our new players, I think we have an opportunity to be a lot better.
All right, before we let you go here, Coach, a few years ago, the plan was for 27-18 to be your last season. I know this summer you said maybe 5 or 6 more years. Physically, mentally, emotionally, how are you feeling right now?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't feel good. There is no plan. We're just going to coach, and as long as we can, as long as we're winning and having fun, we'll keep coaching.
All right, Coach Boeheim right there. Syracuse begins the season November 6th against Eastern Washington. Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, it's guests galore on the Basketball Preview Show. First, Matt sits down with the Orange's go-to guy, Tyus Battle. Then we bring on Mike Waters, a man who's been covering this team for decades. Stick around.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
Here's your check.
got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Back on our Citrus TV 2018 basketball preview show. Make sure you're following us all season on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all good stuff. We send people to every single game, home or road, so make sure you're tuned in. Now, the name Elisha Hughes might not mean very much to you right now, but you talk with people inside and around the Syracuse basketball program, and it might get you pretty excited about this guy. He's a transfer from East Carolina. He took a year off after coming over from the Pirates. Adam Unger tells you how that year off actually might have helped Elisha Hughes.
Former East Carolina Pirate Elisha Hughes isn't necessarily new to the Syracuse basketball team, but he'll be new to the floor in 2018. A year of watching ACC basketball lit a fire under the junior.
I saw the pace of the ACC, the physicality of the ACC, just how you got to compete every single night. So it made me just want to compete every day in practice and just get a better competitive nature.
He's really hungry. I feel like that's what's really going to carry him far. He's always in here, after practice getting shots up.
Hughes averaged about 8 points and 2 rebounds per game in his freshman year at ECU. To have an impact for the Orange this year, Hughes had to use his redshirt year to work on his body.
Cutting off baby fat, turning that into muscle, conditioning, a whole bunch of stuff.
Hughes didn't just change schools. He's also changing positions. He's transitioning from shooting guard to small forward for the upcoming season.
I've been picking up in practice, last couple practices, getting better at it, working on it, so I'm just getting better.
And Hughes has to keep getting better to meet the bar set for him by his coaches and his teammates.
I think he'll be the one to, really put this together ultimately.
I think he's really improved a lot since he came in. I think he's going to be a real good player.
He'll make his regular season Orange debut against Eastern Washington on November 6th. I'm Adam Unger, Citrus TV.
Now joined here by Syracuse Guard Tyus Battle. Tyus, how's it been today?
It's been good, pretty good so far. I mean, it's a long day, exciting day, but it's been good.
Yeah, excited to get the season going.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
So you obviously had an interesting summer when you were in the NBA draft for a little while and doing the combine, all the work there. What made you exactly decide, hey, I want to come back for another year?
I mean, it was a long process. It was a tough decision. But I really think we're going to have a really good team this year. We added pieces we really needed on the offensive end, and we have everyone back. So, and it hasn't happened in a long time. So I just want to be a part of it, and I think good things are really going to happen this year.
Going through that process, working out with all these teams, working out with some of the most talented players in the world, what was the biggest thing that you learned during that process, and what do you think will help you change your game as a player? I think it was seeing the NBA lifestyle, how hard they work, the importance of recovery, and you don't really understand that as a collegiate athlete because you're playing against college guys the whole time. But when you're going to the next level, it's a huge jump. Guys work that much harder, they're that much more focused, and I think that it was really important for me to see that. What was that first conversation like when you announced that you were coming back, talking with Boeheim or talking with any of your teammates just about, hey, let's go back, let's get it one more year?
I mean, it was exciting. It was exciting. I was just really excited. Coach was really excited. And I know the guys were really excited. And I just couldn't wait to get back up here, see how the young guys were looking. And just to be back on the court with my teammates, it's a great feeling.
I know last year on this very show, you said that you were going to surprise a lot of people, not just you, but the whole team. You guys obviously went on a pretty deep tournament run. This year now, there's a lot of expectations on you guys. What are the expectations of yourself right now?
I mean, just to play. I think if I leave it on the court every single game, play 100% every game as hard as I can, good things will happen, and that's what I'm looking to do this year. That's what I'm expecting my teammates to do this year, and if we do that, we're going to be a really good team.
And you guys obviously this year have a much deeper team than you had in previous years. Going into that, is it weird at all thinking that you might not be playing 40 minutes every single game?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's weird, but I think it's going to be a really good thing. It's going to be a really good thing. That means you can just go that much harder while you're in the game. You know someone who's just as good as you could take you out and just continue to go. So it'll help us play faster this year, and I think it's really going to help us.
Heading into this season, if you had to look ahead and think about come March, come April, what would be a successful season in your mind?
National championship. That's my one goal, my main goal, and I want to make that happen.
You heard it here first, everybody. In a national championship.
Yep. That's the main goal, and that's always the goal.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tyus. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Syracuse brings back the entire starting five for the first time in nearly 2 decades. You start at the top with Frank Howard, who should start at the point, provided that his ankle is healthy by the beginning of the season. Tyus Battle, the all-ACC player at shooting guard, joining him up top. O'Shea Brissett should start on the wing with Pascal Chukwu down low. But, Matt, even though that entire starting five is coming back, bit of a question mark on the wing.
Yeah, they're one of 4 teams in the entire country to bring back all 5 starters from a season ago. But you also add in the East Carolina transfer, Elisha Hughes, who has really shown flashes of brilliance and can be an offensive playmaker that at times Dolezaj simply could not.
Elisha Hughes scored 15 points in both those conference tournament games when he was with East Carolina, but Mark Dolezaj started each of the last 17 games for Syracuse last year. We'll see who starts in that spot. Getting you set for the 2018-19 Syracuse men's basketball season. No one better to bring on than Mike Waters, a man who's been covering this team since 1988-89. 30 years. How's it feel?
Like it went by in a flash. When you asked me that just before we started, and I kind of hesitated, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. You have to actually think back about all the teams and players, and then you're like, wow, it has been a long time.
30 years at the Syracuse.com and Post-Standard the entire time, correct?
Yes.
Right. And so what are some of your favorite moments and memories from those 30 years? I know there's a lot, but if you could pick out a few.
The unexpected Final Four in 1996 with the John Wallace and Lazarus Sims-led team and the Cuses in the house, oh my God bunch. That was a fun year, especially an interesting March. The national championship team in '03 was a good team, but for moments, it's the 6 overtime game.
Yeah, right.
I mean, everyone covers a national championship game at some point, where you go and you see it, and every year there's a champion. So. But you don't see a 6 overtime game every year.
So Syracuse this year coming in with a lot of expectations. A big reason why is Tyus Battle. We talked about a lot of guys returning. Were you kind of surprised when he spurned the draft and came back?
Yes, because so few guys do it when they go as far as he did with the, entering his name, going to the combine, going out to California and doing pre-draft workouts, working out with teams after the combine. It's really hard for a kid to go through all that and then in air quotes, admit he's not good enough. There were a lot of guys that, stayed in the draft last year and weren't drafted at all. And obviously probably should have gone back to college. Tyus obviously approached it a lot differently, and I commend him for it. He had a different goal in mind when he entered the draft, and when he found out he wasn't a surefire first rounder and he realized he could come back to school and accomplish some more things both on the court and off. And don't discount the off-the-court stuff. He's going to be really close to graduation by the time he's done here after this coming year. So, yeah, I was a little surprised, but I think he made the right move for him.
Now, when you look at this team, and again, people expecting a lot, if you had to point to one thing that could be the turning point between whether Syracuse exceeds or falls short of expectations, what would you say that is?
Can the offense get better? You know, last year they won primarily with defense and with Tyus Battle making some tough shots down the stretch, and they also they caught a little bit of magic there at the NCAA tournament time. They ran into some teams that weren't prepared for the zone, maybe hadn't seen that type of zone much during the season, and the defense was getting better. But to meet the expectations that's being put on them at this point, the offense has to improve. So, you know, is Tyus Battle a little bit better of a shooter? Is he ironed out the hitch? Is O'Shea Brissett a more well-rounded offensive player? What's Marek Dolezaj's game look like? What can Jaylen Terry and Elisha Hughes do for this team? So if they get better offensively, they'll meet or even exceed expectations. If they're not better, if they have the same problems they had a year ago, I think they'll be the same team they were a year ago. Really good on defense, so-so on offense, and that can get you about to the middle of the pack in the ACC. I think they want to do better than that.
I think so, absolutely. A lot of excitement around Syracuse basketball. Mike Waters from the Syracuse.com and Post-Standard. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
We're still rocking and rolling here on Basketball Preview Show. You can catch Drew's full conversation with Mike Waters at CitrusTV.com. When we return, we'll take a look at the upcoming season for the Orange and let you know when the Blue Devils are coming to town. We'll be right back.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
You know, we're just grinding every day. That's all I can say. It's a little different from 2 years ago, you know, when we had the same, kind of preseason hype. You know, we're not looking down the road now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Citrus TV 2018 Basketball Preview Show. Just wrapping things up here from the Mello Center, but first we're going to take a look at the upcoming schedule for Syracuse, and certainly one that a lot of SU fans should be excited about.
The offseason has been incredibly long for Syracuse, but it all begins in early November. On November 6th, Syracuse begins against Eastern Washington at the Carrier Dome. That starts off the 2K Classic, which actually begins in Syracuse, then heads to the city.
A matchup on November 15th at MSG with UConn, and then take on either Iowa or Oregon the next day.
A couple of weeks later, Syracuse hits the road, goes to Columbus for the Big Ten ACC Challenge against Ohio State, and then it's that rivalry in early December.
Yeah, December 8th, Georgetown comes to Syracuse. That old Big East rivalry renewed in the Carrier Dome.
That one may be the headliner on the non-conference schedule. In ACC play, though, Syracuse starts in early January on the road against Notre Dame. Then a couple of marquee matchups against Duke, probably highlight the schedule in the ACC.
January 14th, they're going to Cameron Indoor Stadium, and then on February 23rd, Duke is coming to the Dome, and then that starts a brutal week for the Cubes.
3 days later, they go back to Tobacco Road. They played North Carolina on February 26th, and then about a week after that, March 4th, Virginia comes to the Dome, another really solid ACC team. It all starts November 6th against Eastern Washington at the Carrier Dome, which should be a pretty fun season, man.
That should be a really exciting season for SU fans. Make sure to check out all our coverage at CitrusTV.com or on social media at Citrus TV Sports.
That does it for our 2018 Citrus TV Basketball Preview Show. For Matt Liberman, I'm Drew Carter. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you throughout the season.